We have already explored the so-called ancient tribes, the Barlen, Olumi, and Masad, considered the first because they formed their identities early in the history of civilization. But peoples and cultures are never static. This is true on our planet and also on Kurin. Thus, the so-called young tribes are the result of a long process of migrations, reconfigurations, conquests, and alliances. And if the peoples of Worn are characterized by their colors, a detail that is anything but random, the next tribes we'll explore correspond to the colors resulting from the combination of their neighbors. Color tells a story of ideas in Worn, while blue corresponds to a rather earthly people concerned with their survival and legacy in this ruined world. Red is primal, ancestral, the color of a world that has passed, but whose vestiges refuse to fade and still lurk in the shadows, beyond the fires that humanity lights for protection. It is known that the Olumi and the Masad do not understand each other. Gold is the color of a people who believe that humanity has come to impose order on the earth, and perhaps to transcend it. Something the Taolin also embodied greatly. Thus, the tribe immediately adjacent to the red and yellow is the people not only at the border of several others, but at the crossroads of two different philosophies. Toward the center of the continent rises a great crescent-shaped massif of rocks, a region of valleys and deep canyons that divided and simultaneously connected entire tribes for centuries. Kaldavia, the land between lands. Its inhabitants are creatures of considerable size, mountaineers, tall, physically powerful, with aquiline profiles, fine eyes and thick lips. Almost all members of the tribe have abundant onyx black hair. Mustaches are extremely popular among the men, bushy and sometimes decorated with braids, or thick and straight. Women typically wear their hair long, held in place with ribbons or in complex braids and buns. Among the men, the variety of hairstyles is greater, with different types of crests and shaved temples, or completely shaved heads, and even long, untamed hair. They are the Kadar, and in addition to the above description, there are two traits that distinguish them from other inhabitants of Kurin. Their skin is a deep copper color, and they are giants, the shortest surpassing 6 feet, and the tallest, the Kadar, reaching 8 feet. Blessed with awesome strength, their nobles claim that the blood of the ancient and forgotten gods of old runs through their veins. They were the first true challenge to the Taolin. From their legendary fortresses, they launched lethal counteroffensives, taking advantage of positioning and the power of superhuman soldiers. Armies of 1,000 generals had already traversed the Kadar land, forcing a people accustomed to conflict and creating a militaristic society where each individual had not only social status but also rank. The Taolin were impressed, but eventually defeated the Red Men of Kaldavia, though what they did to achieve it was one of the first reasons they are considered demons. However, this was not the first time the Kadar had been subjugated. Their land is littered with the ruins of ancient fortresses, the earliest belonging to the antediluvian shepherd kings in the time of the predecessors. Within these ruins, time-worn glyphs tell the story of monstrous sorcerer kings who made pacts with demons to dominate the peoples of Chaldavia and put their incredible strength at their service. The present-day Kadar and their noble caste, the Karkadar, who in addition to being giants have a life expectancy longer than their brethren, claim descent from those who defeated these sorcerer kings. The Orange tribe has a reputation for being cruel, and while it's true that they are merciless with their enemies, they are also a sophisticated people, a product of the influence of their neighbors. An example of this is their language, Laudab, which uses terms from the Olumi Jelen, but its alphabet is the same as that of the Masadi. Another example of foreign influences is The Strength and the Nation, a manifesto we explored in the episode about the Barlen. But while the Barlen embraced the idea of strength as self-determination, for the Kadar, strength equals authority. They are brutally pragmatic, serious, and contrary to what their reputation suggests, rarely given to outbursts of anger. But when it comes, it is terrifying. For outsiders, dealing with the Kadar is like contemplating a still pond beneath which a predator lurks, or, a metaphor that pleases them, a bull grazing peacefully from afar until it charges furiously when disturbed. They are a reclusive people, stern, except with their family circle, distrustful and direct with outsiders, who find them intense and imposing. Kadar society revolves around their fortresses, stone and iron, enormous structures that serve as their urban center and the throne of their Vaidas, their military leaders. Everyone in the tribe undergoes a period of military service in their adolescence. Furthermore, the fortress or personal bastion is a term that refers to a central concept of their culture. It is the mind and the temper of each Kadar, the balance between their spiritual center and the world around them. Each of them must take care of this fortress, which, when the person acquires a new rank or forms a family, grows to encompass their new responsibilities. It is a philosophy of balance, control, and will. Thus, a soldier who cares for his comrade might say to him, "How is your bastion?" Among the Kadar, old and new traditions intersect. By day, they light candles at shrines to the Usul. By night, under the cloak of Kere, they sacrifice goats and bulls to the gods of old. They present themselves as dignified and proud, civilized and rational, but they are the most brutal warriors of Kurin and pride themselves on their strength and their warrior traditions, stemming from a past when man and beast were not that far apart. That said, they are a people who value honor and are not lacking in joy, as can be seen in their art, highly developed in a famous silversmithing style, inspired by brutalist jewelry, which becomes another type of armor for the wearer. Their style is influenced mostly by military uniforms, upright and strong, but they always feature the skin of some animal, which denotes their connection to the Olumi. It is also linked to various Eastern European peoples, like Slavs and Georgian. In this piece, a blood warrior gives his undignified life to his Vaida under the shadow of his fortress. Around him, his colleagues gaze on impassively. Life is cheap in Caldavia. You can see, from the number of iterations I made on their helmets, that I really struggled with this design, inspired by the armor of Dacian soldiers. I have invested a lot of time in creating this universe, and if you ask me, every minute has been worth it.